Okay, now now we've established kind of how to start interfacing with Grasshopper. Let's do some more things. I'm going to get rid of this, and let's just get something that is a bit more conventional. I'm just going to create two more lines, but I'm going to try to stack them. Something simple like that, and I'm just going to retarget. This will be my bottom one, and that will be my top one. In fact, that would be smarter if I had it stacked. I often try to stack things kind of in order of how I did the targeting. So I'm going to call this out as my top curve. I'm right clicking right now so I can give it a name. Okay, you can do that with any of these, but for the most part I would keep the simple things that aren't really that important. Go ahead and keep them the name that they are. You might think about renaming other things that are kind of more unique to what you're trying to do. So I have these two lines. Remember, I can kind of modify these lines as needed to do whatever. And I still have the divide going on. So let's just create kind of an idea of louvers. With louvers, let's say these are vertical louvers. To control kind of the depth and orientation of the louver, we're going to use a couple of new components. Probably the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move these lines, these green lines, out, and then we'll just loft between them to create a vertical surface. So to do that, let's just keep it simple. We're going to move. So we're going to go to the transform to Euclidean, and we're going to grab the move command, and if we plug that in, we'll see that something has already happened on the screen. Because the G is the input for the move, is looking for geometry, I just plugged in these lines into it, and it automatically created these lines that are above the original lines. If we roll over the T, this is the motion translation vector. So what this needs is basically it needs to know how much and in which direction it's going to move. And you can see that the default is 0, 0, 10. So that's in the X it's going to move 0 units, in the Y 0 units, and in the Z it's going to move 10 units. And that's just the default for that input. So if we want to control that, we can do that in a couple of ways. Probably the easiest is to look down here, and it looks like if I move it in the Y direction, it'll move out, which is more likely what I want. So I'm going to go up to vector, under vector, and find the unit Y. So this is moving in the Y direction. So I'm going to plug that in here. And you'll see that it automatically then created another set of lines. And if we look at what it has to control, one is always going to go in the Y direction, so it's going to go in this direction, or if it's a negative value, it will go in the other direction. And we'll see that under the F, this input, its default is 1 unit. So now we've moved these things 1 unit. Alright, so to complete our louver system, all we would need to do is actually just loft between this line and this line. Let's go under surface, because we're going to loft, we're creating a surface, and we're going to go into freeform, and we're going to pick this loft here. And let's connect this one into it, and if you hold down the shift key, you can input another. You can see that little plus sign next to the green arrow. That will plug in also into C. Now I'm holding down the shift key, and we'll see what happens. Well, what has happened is not quite what I wanted. In fact, it's created a surface that's combining all of these lines, and then going to the start and combining all those lines. So there's something wrong with the information that I've given the loft. So that didn't work. So let's try something else. Essentially what I'm trying to do, and let's put a panel on both of these. What I'm trying to do is connect. As you can see, the information is such that we have one list that has 13 lines in it, and another list that has the same 13 lines. What I really want to do is for the first line, the 0 line, and this 0 line to loft together. So what I'm going to do is going to do what's called a weave, and I'm weaving basically zeros together, ones together, twos together, threes, and so on. So I'm going to find the weave. Unfortunately, I haven't looked for it for a while, so I'm going to cheat and type in weave, and let's see where it was located. Okay, it was under sets, and if I had gone over to the list section, I would find the weave. What I'm doing to find out where this is located is I'm using Control-Alt and pressing on the component, and it'll tell you where that's located in the menu bar. Alright, so let's connect the 0 there and the 1 there, and let's see what information we get from that one. We can see we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, da 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 da. It's woven both of these two things together. Now let's connect that and see what happens. Alright, so in this case it has woven them together. It's connected the 0 of one line to the 0 of the next one, but it's continued this as a continuous. So if I was wanting to create kind of a curtain form, this actually would work pretty well, right? But that's not what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do is create a list of items. Zeros together would create one list, and then ones together would create another one. So to do that, you're going to do what's called a graph tree. And let's take a look at what that does. Remember, I'm plugged in here to the line. I have 13 lines. If I put in the graph, I get, instead of 13, a list full of 13 items, now I have 13 lists with one item each. So essentially grafted that information. And I'm just going to do that for both of these. And the idea is now, because they're in separate lists, it'll just plug the 0 items together, and it'll plug in the 1s and then the 2s and 3s separately. And so let's look at what the list looks like now from the weave. It's plugged in, it's woven together, the 0 items, the 1s, 2s, and you can see here with the this is the index kind of tree of data, being the trunk, and then a branch, and then a limb, and so on and so forth. You kind of get to you think of it like an address. So if this is the country you're in, this is the state you're in, this is maybe the city you're in, and so on and so forth. So it's slowly getting more and more described, right? Okay, so, or more specific. So now those things have been lofted. So now I have kind of complete control. I can go ahead and I can edit this and change that. Okay, now one thing to remember, and let me get rid of these panels. One thing to remember when doing any operation where you're messing with the geometry, specifically when you're starting to use vectors, is that you've given it an absolute vector right now. It's going to always move in the y. So if I rotate both of these lines, say to that orientation, it's still lofting or moving the line in the y direction. So I've given it absolute condition. So this will only work if my lines are oriented such that y makes sense for that condition. Now if I want to make this relative, then I have to go through a slightly different procedure to get this move. So I'll do that and then I'll end this video.